Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 for Zap Night. Today we are reviewing Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. I'm your host Danny.
And I'm your co-host Kaylie.
Pokemon Red and Blue. This goes back childhood days.
This is... I don't know if it was my first game. You know what? It was my first game that I think I ever actually owned.
Really?
We used to play it on your Game Boy, and eventually Dad went out and bought me a Game Boy. I got my own, and we had 2 separate games by that point.
Yeah, sure.
So that was my first it's probably my first system that I actually owned myself.
I have lots of memories of playing this game, and actually, I used to play it outside with a couple friends from the neighborhood, and when we would play it, we used to sit outside of my friend's house, so on his porch, and the weather when we played was very specific. So when the weather is that same temperature outside, I have this feeling of, I need to go play Pokemon. The weather is perfect for playing Pokemon. But funny. It's fun. Good stuff. So this game originally came out in February 1996 in Japan. But then it got re-released in North America in 1998. And it was developed by Game Freak. So Game Freak is pretty
freaky,
well known now for doing the Pokemon series. At the time, they were just a little team of I think 8 people or 10 people or something like that.
You actually see them in the game.
Yeah, you can see them in the game.
And they do that quite a bit, cool. Yeah.
I think they do it in every game.
Yeah.
And there's one of those guys, actually, he gives you the certificate when you collect all the Pokemon. So after you collect all the Pokemon, he gives you this certificate saying, you've completed the Pokedex. It's kind of fun. I didn't do that in this game, by the way. My Pokemon count was, I think, 72?
72, 73. Mine was only 51. I only wanted the XP share, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
You had to sit there for an hour. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just put this back in my box.
Yeah, and my box got full.
Yeah, mine did too, and I had to keep throwing stuff away.
I just kept the TMs, because I didn't ever use TMs. I just left them
that was, which we can get into later. I didn't like that you couldn't figure out what they were until you went to use them. So you couldn't even see what they were in the box.
Yeah, that's true.
So I didn't want to just
that's what I like
throw them
about
away.
The newer games. Alright, so anyway, back to our basics for the game. It was originally known as Pocket Monsters in Japan. I think most people know that. In Japan, they released it as red and green versions, and then later they released a Pokemon Blue. And the blue version in Japan was what we got for red and blue. Where their Pokemon Green and Pokemon Red version in Japan that was released in 96, those were super glitchy and just didn't play all that well.
Which is funny because this game is
still pretty glitchy. Yeah, that's true. The games really got better over the years, and then they released the Pokemon Yellow version, which follows the anime a little bit better. But what we got was Pokemon Red and Blue, and that's what we're reviewing is Red and Blue. I actually am playing one of our original. I think, are you playing your original?
No,
Red version?
I never did pop it in. I don't know. I just never looked for it. I should see if the battery even still works.
Yeah, that's true. I had to replace one of my batteries.
I have a huge misty holographic sticker on the back of mine.
In 2004, the Gen 1, so Red and Blue, was remade for the Game Boy Advance, called Fire Red and Leaf Green. And those were just remakes.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good.
They were kind of on par with Ruby and Sapphire as far as...
Well, after Gen 2, they completely redid their battle system and structure. So in order for the old Pokemon to be in the newer generations of the games, they had to remake them. And with that, obviously, they had to remake, Pokemon Red and Blue. And those Pokemon can actually transfer all the way up to the most recent gen, where Gold and Silver and the original Red and Blue can't. So anything after Gen 3, you're clear to transfer them all the way up to the current generation if you're good enough. I've actually done that because I have all the games and all the systems and multiple systems to transfer them back and forth. And yeah, I have quite a few Pokemon that I've done that. Anyway, the game takes place in the region called Kanto. And you are this 11-year-old boy which most
seems safe.
I think they get older as the generations go on. But when you venture out into the tall grass, you get stopped by Professor Oak, who yells at you and tells you can't go into the tall grass because it's not safe, and then proceeds to give you a monster.
Here you go, kids.
So you go in and you go to the professor's lab, and he introduces you to your rival, his grandson, which in my game I named Knight, but I still called him Gary.
Yeah, I named mine Gary. What's funny is that Yellow follows the anime pretty closely, but it looks like Gary. He actually looks like Gary.
It does look like Gary. The professor, the only thing he actually tasks you with is to complete the Pokedex. So the whole Elite Four thing, while it is technically the end of the game because there's no more story progression.
Yeah, I guess they didn't technically really address it.
Yeah,
formally.
I mean, the only task that you're given is to collect all Pokemon. So if you don't do that, you don't complete the game, technically. But, yeah, we still stopped after we beat the Elite Four and got the end screen.
Yeah.
You're given a choice between 3 different Pokemon, and in my game, I picked Squirtle.
I chose Charmander. I really wanted to choose Bulbasaur because I had a change of heart. Like, he ended up being, like, my more favorite of the 3 after a while, but for my childhood's sake, I went with Charmander this time. And I like Charizard.
I like Bulbasaur.
The Bulbasaur and Ivysaur are the only ones I hated.
I hate Venusaur. He looks so dumb.
I know.
He just
looks like
stupid.
He's got huge pimples on his...
Yeah, and the huge flower. I don't know, he just looks stupid to me.
But we digress.
Right. Along your journey, you encounter Team Rocket, who is basically this evil group who's trying to steal Pokemon and gain money,
all these different...
and take over the world.
They're the Pokemafia.
They are. That's true. I never thought of it that way. Well, I guess Giovanni. He should be a dead giveaway. Which, by the way, Giovanni looks just like Dracula to me. I don't know if you noticed that.
He looks just like some mob boss guy.
Yeah, well, I just mean the, like, overworld sprite. His, little sprite.
Oh,
he looks just like
he does look like Dracula.
Along your adventures, along with Team Rocket, you also encounter the different Pokemon gyms. And the gyms help you progress in the game. So, in order to find the next town, or in order to be able to use Surf or Fly, which are different moves that you can use in the world, you have to be able to earn gym badges. And you really can't progress without doing that. After you collect all 8 gyms and their gym badges, you can go off to fight the Elite Four. Yep. And after you fight the Elite Four, your game is pretty much done, unless you're trying to catch all the Pokemon.
Catch them all, which really is what they want you to do for maximum playtime.
Right, and honestly, from a marketing point of view, the catch 'em all catchphrase is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, because it's been so drilled into me that all I want to do is catch them all. All I want to do is catch them all. I haven't completed the Pokedex yet for X and Y, but I really, really want to.
Well, too, besides that, it's an easy long task that just about anyone can really. It just takes a lot of, which as a kid, you have that time to be catching them all.
Right. So for a story, I really like that there is some story, even though for an old Game Boy game, there really isn't much. And I don't really expect a whole lot. It does its job. It gives you reason to continue moving through the game and actually catching all the Pokemon and fighting Team Rocket. There's a story in that. And there's a lot of awesome fan theories out there, too. Even Giovanni. There was something, I don't know if Game Theory did an episode on this or not, but one of the theories is that Giovanni, he is actually not as bad as he sounds like he is. He's trying to steal the Master Ball so he can recapture Mewtwo because Mewtwo is wreaking havoc. I don't know. There's a pretty awesome... Look it up. I'm sure you guys can figure it out there. But it's a pretty cool little storyline. Also, I don't really know if we can call this an RPG. I definitely categorize it as an RPG, but it's not really. But
it kind of is because it's technically your adventure. You choose your Pokemon. You choose which gyms to kind of go to. I mean, you don't have to hit like usually you have to hit like a certain events to be able to go to different towns and stuff. But I mean, like there was a couple other. I don't know. I feel like it's an RPG. You're playing that role. It's your team. I don't know. I felt like too that you kind of already addressed them, but they had the side stories like the Mew and the Mewtwo. Like you have the lab that has all these where they
Journals.
journal entries and all that, and they explain Mewtwo and Mew. And
I did like that. What I thought was weird though is in one of the journal entries they're talking about finding a Pokemon in South Africa.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny
why
too.
Are you referencing a real world location?
I think they actually say that same thing in the movie, don't they?
They might. I don't remember. I haven't watched the movie in a long time. That would be fun to do. We should do that sometime.
But I mean, not just Mew and Mewtwo though. And you've got, I mean, Team Rocket kind of has their own little story too. And I guess this is also kind of Team Rocket, but like the whole like Lavender Town, like with the Cubone and the Silph Skull.
There are a handful of little sub stories throughout the game, throughout your Pokemon adventure.
I mean, there really isn't. Does it really need a story? It's pretty straightforward. You're either collecting all the Pokemon or beating the Elite Four.
Not by a long shot. It doesn't need a story at all. But the fact that there is a story, that's a positive to me. I suppose when you're comparing it to like Final Fantasy 1, there's more story in this game than there is in Final Fantasy 1, to be honest. To be 100% honest, there's way more storyline in this.
Well, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I thought about giving it just kind of a neutral, but I thought because it's a small group of people, I mean, I thought it was.
Yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 10. I really feel like that they could do more. And as you see, as the Pokemon games progress, they definitely dive way deeper into a storyline. And I really, really like that aspect of the game. And X and Y, which is the current gen, in air quotes, only because the next generation is coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But X and Y really had an awesome storyline. I really, really enjoyed the storyline.
I wasn't crazy about it.
I actually played it again just to enjoy the storyline. Yeah, I did.
I have to say my favorite storyline of all of them that I have played is probably Gold and Silver.
Yeah, I like Gold and Silvers too. Yeah. So anyway, back to Pokemon Red and Blue. The graphics, I liked all the detail for each individual monster.
Well, for the most part. Well, they were kind of...
Some of them were pretty
kind of
crazy.
Bad.
But, I mean, the fact that they put all that effort into all these different sprites, not just the front-facing sprites, but the back-facing sprites, too, I thought was... There's so much effort put into that.
I would agree, but then, like, some of those overworld sprites were kind of, like, bleh. Like, there's just random NPC characters that walk around. It looks like that their arms are like wings or something. And I hate the menu sprites of your different Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I don't like them either. They don't represent your Pokemon at all.
Well, like the bugs, they look so dumb. They just look...
Well, like Gyarados is just a little snake. And he's so not a little snake.
So sometimes the Pokemon, if you're looking at them from the front, like if you were battling them, they look amazing. You get them and you're facing, you were battling with them and they look so stupid. Like Charmeleon.
Yeah, Charmeleon is like the worst.
Arbok, I used Arbok for a little bit and that was pretty... His front looked really cool, but his back looked kind of weird.
And that's sad too when you see a Pokemon in the wild, you catch it because it looks awesome, and then you fight it, and it's like, never mind. But on the
flip side, I feel the opposite about Pikachu.
Agreed.
Like we were saying.
Yeah,
Pikachu looks so cute, and you could, pinch his little cheeks, and then he didn't look bad. Pikachu really didn't look that bad, but I liked him so much more from the angle that I was fighting with.
Yeah, the front view of Pikachu is pretty bad.
He just looks like an obnoxious teenager that you just want to go and slap.
He kind of does.
I mean, graphics...
The biggest complaint that I had about the graphics, and it's not really the game's fault, it was fairly new in the Game Boy Color series, but for being a Game Boy Color game, it had no color.
Oh yeah, it was really bad.
Now, some of the updates that you can kind of tap into from playing the game, like in the Nintendo 64 version, Well, when you plug your game into the Nintendo 64 to play like Pokemon Stadium, you can play the game on there, and you get a bit of color in that.
Splash.
And you can also get that in the Super Game Boy, and you can get that in Game Boy Advance adapter, and the Game Boy Advance in general. You can add that color to it. And it's fun, it looks okay, but it's still, when you played it on, the Game Boy Color, you just don't have any of that color in there.
I just feel like that they put so much intention into one spot, and then they're just like, meh, just wing it. Like the, I don't even know what you want to call them. Like if they're blocking you from going forward from the map, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like their little like cylinder things that they have lining the little barrels.
It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just
I see what
weird.
you mean.
But, and this kind of falls under gameplay maybe, but there's a couple places where you can exit your dungeon, like the power plant, and even Victory Road, where you kind of go off screen, like to the left or right, to leave the dungeon, and it's just, you just see these weird patches on the floor, and that's how you exit. I noticed
that too.
And I think I remember actually as a kid trying to leave the power plant, like I couldn't figure it out till later. Maybe it was Victory Road, I don't remember which one, but I remember having issues.
Because you didn't know that you gotta step on those tiles.
Because they don't even look like there's an exit there or anything. Like, it put an arrow or a sign, something. It was, I don't know. That's...
Do you have anything else for graphics that you wrote down?
No, that's...
I was kind of sad about the end screen. I was kind of expecting something a little more extravagant than the end.
Or even something more than just the actual credits, because there really wasn't much. You had like a shadow of a Pokemon, and that was it. For just
a Game Boy game, I kind of get it. It at least had credits to signify you're done with the game, but there wasn't really much there.
Anything there.
But, I don't know, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was okay. I just feel like it got lazy in spots. Like, I really appreciate the work they put into the sprites, but...
not that you can really compare this with anything, but, for it only being like a 5 to 10 man team, they did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
And, look at the, the charm that it has on the world over now. Even at the time, in the early 2000s to the late 90s, this game was huge. Everybody had it. Everybody was playing it. Everybody was trading and collecting and fighting. Big deal. It was amazing.
This is what we grew up on.
It really is.
The big hype of our era. It really is. What'd you think about for gameplay?
I really enjoyed actually catching the Pokemon. I don't necessarily like fighting Pokemon.
Yeah, and that was a big part of the game. That was just the main point of the game, is you are either... You're fighting trainers constantly, or you're fighting and catching Pokemon. Right. Because there's no story.
And I enjoy catching Pokemon, and I like collecting them, but when it comes to fighting, I don't get that into it. I'm not that strategic. I'm not that...
You're not into the...
I'm definitely not a competitive battler.
Yeah, that's... The people that go, like, hardcore into the
And there's
training.
A lot of strategy to it, and there's a lot of hidden components to the battle system that, if you...
That's not fun to me.
If you look into it, you can really figure it out, and you can be amazing. But yeah, again, that's not fun to me. I'm more of a collector. I like shiny hunting. The game, yeah. And, I like doing that kind of stuff. Catching the Pokemon is a lot of fun, and I really like trading, and the whole evolution thing, trying to figure out which Pokemon, what you gotta do to each Pokemon to level it up, or to
trade it evolve. Sometimes, yeah.
Like, Haunter evolves into Gengar by trading, and Alakazam you get by trading. Machoke you get by trading.
How did you get your Alakazam? Oh, no, you didn't get an Alakazam.
Yeah, no, I didn't do it.
How did Gary get one?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Who's he trading with?
There are a lot of hidden items, and I like finding that too. Looking for all the little hidden items.
Was there an item finder in this game?
There was an item finder.
Where was it? I never found it.
I think it's...
I kind of rushed near the end of my game. So.
I think it's on above one of the connecting little rest stops. I guess it's above one of those things. You just gotta look.
Huh. Well, you know, the nice thing about this, though, is you kind of can guess sometimes where there's going to be...
Yeah, I actually found a lot of them just by, randomly checking a rock or...
Speaking of finding stuff, did you remember to get the coins off of the ground in the game?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even do the whole game corner thing.
Really? That's how I got I got a Dratini that way.
You can get a Dratini in the Safari Zone.
Can you really?
Yep.
I didn't know
Super
that.
rod fishing.
When I looked for the area, so there wasn't any.
It's in the very first...
Are you sure it's not a Blue exclusive thing? Well, maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
I'll have to try it. Well,
but I'm pretty sure it's just in the Safari Zone, the very first area that you walk in.
Oh, well, it wasn't really hard to get the...
No,
I could have got that Scyther, dang it.
The Psychic type is way overpowered.
Yeah. And, you know, they address that later in the games.
They do. On. They give, the Dark type immunity to Psychic.
And I didn't have much of a problem doing it fighting my other people, like the gym leaders and stuff. It was tough, but the hardest part was fighting an Alakazam. That was...
Sabrina was pretty tough.
And, you know, I tried to counter it with, putting them to sleep, but the only person who could put them to sleep in my party was a Butterfree, and even throwing Psychic back at them was not very effective. I think the most effective way that I got rid of them was using a high-level Thunder.
I think all I could do was, I had my Kadabra, who was doing Psychic, and my best chance of killing another Abra or an Alakazam was to use Psychic and have it just be more powerful than his. And usually when the computer's smart enough that when you're up against the same type, they use a move that may not be ineffective to yours. So obviously Sabrina's Alakazam didn't want to use Psychic on me because it wasn't very effective. So instead, they defaulted to Recover. Well, Recover... He would use Recover after every move. So you would do, Psychic, which would knock him down half health, and then he'd use Recover, which would knock it back up to full health. So it was, doing that until, I eventually just got lucky.
Speaking of the computer, though, which drove me nuts, which shouldn't be a big deal, because it worked in my favor, but they would do moves like Roar in a Pokemon battle. And Roar only works if you're fighting and you are running.
I know. Roar and
They use that in the very last, when I'm fighting Gary, his Arcanine uses Roar.
Yeah, mine
Why?
did too.
3 or 4 different times.
I know. When I fought him too,
good thing he did that.
I think that it's just a random generator sort of thing.
Probably.
It just randomly picks a move.
It's just...
But yeah, it
But
is
really,
kind of
why wouldn't you just take it out completely by the end? Seriously,
why even, when you program Gary in there, why even have Roar as an option? That doesn't make any sense.
I think if you choose Bulbasaur, he doesn't have an Arcanine, or something like that.
Really? Huh. I didn't know that. You know what move really bothered me was Wrap.
Rap? Oh, W.
Yeah, not like
I had my
Arbok.
The thing I did with my Arbok was I would poison the person that I was fighting, and I would sit there and use Rap because they couldn't fight, and if I got in an attack first, it wouldn't matter. So it would Rap, it would do a little bit of damage, and then it would do poison. So I was just doing consecutive hits.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that sounds awful.
It would sit there forever, but...
Early in the game, when my Pokemon weren't very high leveled, I would use... when they would use Wrap on me, I would keep switching my Pokemon around until eventually they wouldn't use Wrap. They would use, Tail Whip or something stupid. And it was yes, here's my chance, use Psychic! Hurry, just do something! Something else.
Yeah, I just would use Wrap back, so... I rapped right back at them. I did notice, too, something like Rage, which is... My Charizard learned Rage. And Rage, it attacks, and then after... If I remember correctly, every time you would land a hit, his speed and or power would increase, so that it would keep doing it. Only it would keep doing it. That Pokemon would die, and unless... It gives you a chance to switch your Pokemon out if they die... The person's Pokemon dies.
Yeah, if you set it up that way.
But otherwise, it just keeps going.
Wow.
So you would never get a chance to do anything. You would have to wait till either Charizard dies, or that
you're done fighting.
Yes.
So don't use that against a Mewtwo.
So, and I mean...
Mewtwo will die.
It's just... I don't know. It was a dumb... but I think they improved it later.
Otherwise, for gameplay, one of my problems was there was a lot of design bugs. I noticed, at least for my game, and it could just be that my game needs cleaned or something, but every time I used fly or teleport or something like that, where my figure would like fly up in the air, the sprite would turn into like I described it as PlayStation buttons. Like it was like a triangle and a B and an A.
Really?
And it was really weird. Like every time it would do that. And I really think it could have just been that mine needed cleaned or something.
I did notice though that if a Pokemon would get poisoned, like the top part of my hat would kind of change, like the color, and it would just. Too. I was like, oh, someone must be getting poisoned or something, because it would just all of a sudden it would vibrate.
Yeah, I really didn't like that either. When you were poisoned, like every 5 steps, it would.
Yeah,
and I get it. They're trying to tell you, hey, you got to poison Pokemon. But there were times when I didn't have any way of healing my Pokemon, and I'm just like, just die already!
Yes,
just kill yourself!
You know what's funny is that when you get to the Pokemon Center, it's exactly one time you will get affected by the poison, and I would have a time or two where I would...
You'd be walking in the Pokemon Center,
and they would die right there in front of the Pokemon Center. I was like, why? Why would you allow that?
Why not have the Poké Center one step closer? Step, yeah. So for gameplay, I gave it an 8.
And I gave mine an 8 too.
I thought it was
for the game it functioned well.
It definitely is obviously the highlight of the game, to catch Pokemon and battle Pokemon. That's your goal, that's what you're doing. And I think that they did it really well.
The only thing that they could really improve on, which they did, was the Pokeball.
Yes, I know.
Nah.
But, I really think that the Pokeballs caught faster in this game, even though the percentage rate was a lot lower. And there would be times when, especially fighting the legendaries, you would go and you would paralyze it, you could poison it, you could confuse it, and then you could get its health all the way down to 1, and he would still not even get in the ball.
On the brink of death.
Yes, and he still wouldn't get in the Pokeball. And, I think I skipped out on Moltres.
Moltres was hard, but I couldn't ever get Moltres to stay asleep. That was my hardest part.
I didn't even bother. I had him paralyzed, and I had him with 1 HP, and he still wouldn't. I ran out of Pokeballs.
He was really, really hard.
And I'm just like, I got frustrated, and I'm like, no,
I didn't even go to Seafoam Island. I left it. It's probably why my guys were so bad when I was fighting the Elite Four.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I completely... Well, I was a little crunched on time because I had some stuff over the weekend, but it was, Yeah,
I mean...
But that goes to show you, though, that there's... extra, and even after you beat the Elite Four, there's extra content.
You can keep doing stuff. I mean, there's a handful. You could completely skip the power plant. There's that spot where you get Mewtwo, that little island.
That's what I was talking about.
That you can go in there and get Mewtwo, and that's all optional. And the Pokemon in there are ridiculously hard. I think they're all level in the 50s at least. So, I mean, it's a good spot to level up. It's a good spot to evolve your Pokemon. So, it's nice to have that sort of place there, but...
What did you think about the Safari Zone?
I enjoyed the Safari Zone. I like the different gameplay that's involved there. I didn't like the whole time limit thing.
Yeah.
I would have preferred some other method of time. I understand why it's there, because they don't want you to just do whatever you want to do in there indefinitely. But, they want to give you some challenge to try and find Surf, which is really the goal of the Safari Zone.
And the gold teeth.
The gold teeth. Which, for me, I don't know if gold teeth is in a different spot every time, but for me, gold teeth was right next to the sign that said... If you ever find gold teeth, let me know, or whatever.
Like that.
And it was right there, legitimately right there.
Mine, it was a short distance away. Was it gold teeth or was it just false teeth?
It was gold teeth. I looked it up. It was gold teeth. At least in this game. I didn't look it up for Fire Red and Leaf Green, but in this game it's
for some reason, I always thought it was Wood Teeth as a kid.
Wood Teeth?
Wood Teeth. I know, that's I must have watched, like, a cartoon, because that sounds like something I'd see in a cartoon, someone with wood teeth.
So, let's move on to music. Obviously, the music is extremely memorable. We can do this all day.
I really liked the Elite Four. Dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
Let's just sing for everyone on this podcast.
The music is very memorable, and we actually went to a Pokemon concert.
Yeah, lucky you.
And that was a lot of fun. It was really neat, and I really only recognized the Gen 1 music.
Yeah.
Everything else was just like, I know it's Pokemon music, but that's like about
Pokemon-ish.
it. But the first gen was very good, and the Team Rocket theme is really cool, the Elite Four music is really cool, the battle theme is really cool. There's a lot of really neat music in it. It does get very repetitive in places, like in the caves drove me nuts.
Yeah, I hate caves.
And
Ugh.
it's not just the Zubat problem, which isn't so bad after you get through Mount Moon, but there's battles like every 5 steps.
I know.
If that. I mean, there were times when the music wouldn't actually even start more than maybe 2 notes in, and I would get into a battle.
That's how it is whenever it's just not grass. Even like in the power plant, it felt like it was just the encounter rate was just
in grass, like in the forest, the Viridian Forest.
Yeah, you could go for a really long time.
I was looking for Pikachu, and I'm walking around for like
where are the
time.
Pokemon?
Yeah, where are they? Am I gonna fight anything? But I gave it just a 5 out of 10. I probably should have given it more, but I didn't want my love of this game to influence a whole lot. And when you step back and look at it, it's just a Game Boy game. And the music, while it's really, really good, it's definitely geared towards kids. And I kind of noticed that. There are a few songs in there that are really cool and kind of deep and mysterious. And they get better as the games progress. But I think this first game was definitely geared towards kids. You can feel it in all the music. You can feel it in, like, you walk into the Poké Center, and it's like, I love this music because it brings me back to my childhood, but as an adult playing it, it's like, this is kids' music.
I gave it a 6 out of 10, and I feel the same way, but I feel like they had a lot of music for a lot of different things. And I really liked the music at the very, very end because it felt more like this is a big deal when you're fighting your rival.
That's true. Yeah. And I love the rival music.
Yeah.
It was so different. Obviously the very last rival when you're fighting him as the Pokemon champion.
I feel like that they really put a lot of, all considering, they put a lot of work into the music, and I gave it just a little extra push there.
I enjoyed it, but it definitely could have been better. There was a lot of area that if they just spent a little more time on, it could have been a little bit more.
Honestly, the jump between Pokemon Red and Blue to Pokemon Gold and Silver, it was a huge jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a huge jump. So, I don't know. I think that for its time, I was a really little kid. I was 7 when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Been a long time.
Well, and that was just when it came out. I didn't play it maybe I played it the year it came out, but probably not.
Well, it came out in 95 or 6.
No, it came out in 98.
Well, originally it was made in 96.
Right.
So,
for us, it came out in 98. And I don't think I probably played it until maybe 99. So
I don't know. I liked this game. Even, if I was to recommend it to anyone, I would recommend the newer version. But for me, I enjoyed playing just the regular. It wasn't a big chore to play this game,
Yeah, I agree with if you're gonna tell someone to play this game, you're not going to tell them to play Red and Blue. You're going to tell them to play the most recent version of the games.
Yeah. Well, if you want to
because, I mean, you got all the bonus features of playing the newest versions, like the events and, you know, being able to catch some of the previous Pokemon along with the brand new stuff, but there's no other reason to play Red and Blue other than the nostalgia value.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to catch the Pokemon in there. You can't transfer them up. You know, I played through Emerald just to catch the Pokemon to transfer them up. Like, no other reason to play through Emerald than to do that, for me anyway. And, you know, if you're going to play Red and Blue or Gold and Silver for the original games, there's no other reason to do that other than you're playing it to play it. You know, you can't do anything with those Pokemon. You know, if you play Gold and Silver and you catch a Golden Pidgey, you can't do anything with that, you know? Shiny Pidgey.
Broke my heart.
I know. You can tell the story. They don't know on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. So, when I was a little kid, Shinies were just new in Gold and Silver. The first Gold and Silver, obviously. And before you get to the next town to buy any Pokeballs, you go through a patch of grass with your new Pokemon. Well, I happened to stumble upon a Golden Pidgey. No Pokeballs, no nothing. And so I had to either run away, or what I originally did, I just shut the game off and walked away.
Oh, no! I thought you killed it. No, so you just turned the game off. Like,
turned the game off. I was like,
I'm just gonna turn this off and set it on the table. And walk
I don't think I picked it up for like a while after that either. It was really depressing.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh my gosh.
Broke my heart.
My first official shiny was a shiny Poochyena.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Poochyena?
Poochyena was my first official shiny. I caught it when Gold and Silver first came out. I Game Sharked the crap out of that game. I just, whatever I could do to beat my friends.
When they released, I know we're getting off track, but when they released the radar tracking in, I believe it was Diamond and Pearl, you could link up to Pokemon over and over in a row, and if you got around to 40-ish, you would start seeing shinies. Well, I had actually, not that Venomoth is the most amazing Pokemon, but I actually had chained 40 Venomoths. And if I had kept going, I would have found a shiny one, but I didn't keep going because I had no idea at the time, because I was just fighting Pokemon at that time, and I just could not believe when I found out later. I was like, I could have had my first shiny right then and there. I think my first official shiny, though, was in one of the newest games when you could fish shinies.
Yeah, my first shiny was the Poochyena, and I was just... I knew and it was in X and Y, but I knew that you could use the Ditto egg hatching method. And so when I first got the game, I went and got myself a Japanese Ditto, and I threw him in the daycare right away. So any egg hatching that I did, and I was trying to catch all the Pokemon, I still am working on that. But I was trying to catch, I had the next Mightyena, and I wanted a Poochyena, and it just happened to be a shiny, and you know there was no rhyme or reason to it. It happened to be a shiny, so that was pretty fun.
What's your favorite shiny you have altogether?
My favorite shiny is definitely my shiny Charizard.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Pretty.
He's so
pretty
cool.
Smooth. I
hatched like some 1,000 Charmanders to get that thing.
I don't know if my favorite is, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna butcher the Relicanth. I think
what is it?
The big stonefish.
Oh yeah.
Or the my Politoed. I was pretty proud of my Politoed.
Cool.
He's pretty cool.
So anyway, back to Red and Blue. what we're actually reviewing.
We're at the end of the podcast.
No, we're not. So overall, we kind of touched base on this. It's a great game. It's not something that you would necessarily refer a friend to unless they want to play the original. But
I'm guessing though, if you're listening to this, you have some idea about Red and Blue.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Everything that we've gone over, everybody's like, yeah, I know this. We don't know everything about Red and Blue. It's just, this is our experience of playing. You know, I have to say, though, I went to the grocery store the other day, and there was a kid with a Game Boy Color and playing Pokemon.
Oh,
walking around in the store.
Playing? Which one?
I think it was Red. But I don't know.
That kid's dad must have played Pokemon.
It blew my mind seeing this little kid with his nose buried inside of a Game Boy instead of a phone or a tablet or something. It was so cool.
That's the next step.
So overall, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave mine an 8 out of 10.
Overall, everything really plays well together, and I just thought it deserved a fairly good score. So yeah, that's why I gave it a 9.
Yeah, go Pokemon.
So it just so happens that both of our totals are 34, which is a super total of 68, and that's a D+. I think it deserves it. I mean, again, it's a good game, but there was a lot of times that I was cursing this game and just kind of fed up with it and ready to be done. I definitely
think that the next game would definitely warrant for a better grade, though, just by how much they improved from...
Oh, yeah, you mean...
It's a huge jump. Gold and Silver.
Gold and Silver.
So, but, I think for them it was a good learning curve. They really improved on this. So.
Oh, yeah, and I like what all their progressions.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you see where they take this base of a game, which is essentially red and blue, and it's red and blue all the way through. You can see the base game all the way through all these generations of Pokemon games, and they just added on top of it and improved it and made it better. But when you really strip it down, it's the same game. I mean, you're doing the same thing. Catching Pokemon, trying to complete the Pokedex, beating the Elite Four, which is somehow still only the Elite Four.
Fighting evil by moonlight.
Yeah, I mean, you're still fighting team whatever it is in that game.
Sailor Red.
I'm not doing the Sailor Scout thing. What is what's the one in what is the team in Gold and Silver? What's the evil group?
It's still Team Rocket, and then you go to Magma and Aqua, and then you've got either Galactic or Plasma or Dr. Plasma. I don't know. I wish that we would have stuck with Team Rocket.
Yeah, I think it would have been easier to stick with Team Rocket, but
how many evil organizations are out there that are wearing these bad uniforms? Team Rocket's uniforms really weren't that bad.
No, they were pretty straightforward. Black with white gloves or white undershirts or something. But yeah, no, it was pretty straightforward.
I liked the black and red. I thought that was really cool. And just the later one,
I liked Team Aqua. Their outfits were kind of
they were okay.
So anyway, good game.
Good game. Play it if you...
We can check it off our list of games to play. I've been wanting to play a Pokemon game, and actually when Pokemon Golden Silver, Pokemon Sun and Moon, they'll be coming out in a couple weeks, and we're going to start playing that, and we'll review it after the first of the year. We'll give it a couple weeks, or a couple months to play. But we'll definitely be playing that and reviewing it for you guys.
Yay! An actual up-to-date game!
I know, everything's been old games. So,
we've had to get into the groove.
Yeah, we need to step it up a little bit.
Step up our game.
So, instead of doing a Thrift Shop game this time, we decided to plug in our Nintendo 64 and play some Pokemon Stadium.
And how did that go?
That didn't go so well.
Again. Because we can't seem to get the Thrift Shop game down. So... what happened this time, Danny?
So, this time we plugged it all in, got it all up and running.
Danny showed us how to get a Mew without cheating, technically.
To be able to glitch your way through a Mew, you can do it as long as you have one very special Pokemon trainer that you can't fight. And I described it so well in that thing. It sounded great.
You avoided fighting those trainers.
I know, and I did it flawlessly the third time.
How many hours were in your game? Do you know?
No, I didn't look at that. I can't believe I didn't look at
that. Mine was 32 hours.
I didn't even look.
You had to have at least had 32 hours into the game.
I want to know now. Hang on, I'm gonna grab my DS or my game. Is yours charged?
Please hold at intermission. Yeah.
Intermission. So anyway, we did all this, and I had my microphone on mute the entire time.
And someone in the chat goes,
but didn't elaborate.
Didn't give us a heads up.
Oh, jeez.
We could have stopped. We could have done it over again.
23 hours and 51 minutes. So almost 24 hours of gameplay.
You flew through that.
I did.
You know what, though? I wasted a lot of time catching a whole bunch of Growliths to find, like, the perfect stats.
Really?
And then I didn't even evolve them to an Arcanine.
Oh, poor Growlithe.
Yeah, you killed him in the stadium. Not that you'll be able to hear it.
Well, you can still watch it. Well, I'll leave it up. It'll be on YouTube here in a... it should be on YouTube by the time you're listening to this, but it's so sad that I was gonna play it again, and we were gonna go through the whole thing over again, except I realized that I saved my game after I got Mew, and there's no point now because I can't show everybody how to get Mew. So if you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. Jump on YouTube.
You kind of mess up those first few times.
Yeah, there's the first couple times I kind of screw it up, but you can watch it and see what you can get an idea. There's a ton of stuff on there.
Google it.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff online. That's all you gotta do is just look it up online. A lot of people say you have to fly away from a very specific trainer. No, you don't have to. As long as you fly away from any trainer, you can do this, but you have to fight that one specific trainer up by Bill's house.
The perfect stats.
Yeah. So otherwise, Pokemon Stadium is kind of an adaptation of the Pokemon games. You can plug in your game into a special Nintendo 64 cartridge, and
those cartridges were...
Yeah, they don't work very well anymore, but you can plug them in, and they're supposed to read your Pokemon game, and you can... manipulate your Pokemon data in there. You can move Pokemon from boxes. You can store Pokemon on the game itself. And
it's crazy.
You just kind of do all sorts of stuff on there.
They did a lot of
the whole idea was
interaction there.
The whole idea was to do the whole 3D Pokemon fighting thing, which I haven't played the Pokken tournament, which I really, really want to, because I like that idea of seeing the Pokemon fighting like in the anime. Mm. In the anime, they have all these like cool like tactics that they can use. Like in my head, I can see these things happening when my Pokemon uses Fly. I can envision it flying around in the sky and, just barely dodging a sand attack from a Pidgey or whatever, but you can't really see that in the games, and I wish you could. But you can kind of get a dumbed down version of that from playing Pokemon Stadium. And, it's got a handful of mini games, which we played in the mini games. We fought each other with our Elite Four teams.
You were player 1 and I was player 2.
Yep.
For the...
And I beat you pretty solidly.
He didn't want to play again because he knew I'd whoop his butt.
That's probably true. Otherwise, Pokemon Stadium's a lot of fun if you've got the original games. If you've got the whole setup, you probably already have it anyway. If you have a 64 still. Everybody had Pokemon Stadium back in the day.
It's true.
Or Pokemon Stadium 2, which is essentially the exact same game, just updated.
Hey, I liked those mini games more.
Yeah, I liked Pokemon Stadium 2's mini games a lot more. But Stadium 1, it wasn't too bad.
Nah.
And it was kind of fun to do like a tournament thing, too. They had a little tournament. And it's a little more fun with more players. So if you have like 4 players, you can really get a party thing going on and play a little more heavily. Not that that's a whole lot of fun battling, because I think you can still only battle with 2 people. So, I don't know. But yeah, Pokemon Stadium. Fun stuff.
Yay! Good game.
Good stuff. So what are we going to play next?
We're going to play Animal Crossing.
Which one?
We're going to play New Leaf for the 3DS. We're updating a little bit more. A semi-newer game.
Yeah, well, that's a lot newer than a lot of the games we've played so far.
So, my thing is I've already played this game to death. So I'm going to be restarting on a new cartridge. I couldn't give up my town because I worked so hard on my town. My town is like in perfect mode right now. I've got all these flowers. I have blue roses, gold roses. I mean, it's a little pathetic.
When was the last time you played it?
It's been a while. They're probably all dead by now.
Oh no.
My favorite was Stitches, so I'm hoping I'm gonna be doing some hardcore working in this town. I'm gonna have a beautiful town.
What's fun about playing a 3DS game is that we can play together a little bit more, so it'll be a little more fun when we sit down and talk about, being able to interact with each other will be a little more fun.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
So yeah, if you got a copy of Animal Crossing New Leaf,
we'll have to post our Dream World codes on Zap Night and have people come look at our.
Or if you want to exchange some friend codes, I'll take a couple friend codes. Just email us at,
or even drop it in Facebook and a Tumblr.
Yeah, just let us know and we'll friend you. Oh yeah. we'll friend you on one
of our social medias up there. Just drop us a message.
Look us up on zapnight.com. You can find just about everything that we got going on, plus our email address if you would like to email us. We have yet to get listener email, though I don't think we have much for listeners yet. We have a few. I see a few of you out there.
Thanks.
So yeah, thanks for listening, and
we'll see you in the virtual Animal Crossing world.
Come play Animal Crossing with us, and we'll be reviewing Animal Crossing December 1st, so look out for that.
Yay!
Alright, thanks again for listening, guys, and we will see you next month.
Bye-bye.